So we all know the TNA Knockouts division has been kinda ass recently. Honestly, it's been horrible, and after losing Marsha Slamovich and Ash by Elegance, it's in a very tough position, but luckily, there might be some hope. So for some of you who don't know, Zayda Steel is a WWE wrestler. Well, technically she's a WWE ID wrestler who competed on Evolve, but she recently announced she hasn't renewed her ID contract, so she's technically a free agent. Well, she's always been, but she's more free now than ever. And I saw on the TNA subreddit like a year ago, she said that she is very interested in coming to TNA, and she actually grew up with TNA. And if you haven't watched Evolve, she's really freaking good. She's amazing. So there might be some hope for the Knockouts division to bring in some fresh talent, and not just fresh talent, someone who has potential to be a star in the company. Personally, this is something I would love, and I'm going to talk about the Knockouts division more all throughout this review of tonight's episode. But if she was to sign with TNA, I would be extremely happy. I think, honestly, this would be one of the best decisions TNA has made regarding the Knockouts division this year if they do it. But let's start with the actual review of the show. It opens with Trick Williams and Mike Santana having a final confrontation. Trick Williams is in the ring, Mike Santana is in the crowd, and Santana basically goes all throughout his history. How he had to look at his dead father's body in a morgue, how he had to tell his own daughter he has to go to rehab for addiction, and he says that he can't lose against Trick Williams at Bound for Glory. And I'm really just ready for this match. I'm very excited for it again. I'm tired of the promos. I feel like they've said everything that can be said. I just want to get to the match, but damn, it's going to be a really big moment once Santana actually defeats Trick Williams. And this promo in itself was really good. Again, just for me personally, I'm just ready to get to the match. I feel like it's been so long and we're just kind of retreading steps. But I am excited. This was a really good promo. It really made me buy into Santana. I'm just hyped to see the guy finally be at the top of the world. We also had another promo package of Gia Miller and Tessa Blanchard talking about their feud. I'm also very excited for this match. I feel like the build towards it has been very exciting, and I'm still very conflicted on Gia Miller. Again, I haven't seen any wrestling of her before. I've stopped myself from going online and seeing if there's anything there because I want Bound for Glory to be my first experience of her. If she's good and she can keep up, I feel like she's going to be a great addition to the Knockouts division, especially since this whole feud has been really fun. It's been very different, and I really hope Gia Miller wins. I don't think Tessa Blanchard gains anything from winning this, and if Gia Miller wins, I feel like it's a nice stepping stone to introduce her into the wider Knockouts division. So hopefully Gia Miller wins. Hopefully she's actually very good. And then we follow this up with our first match of the night, which is Matt Cardona versus Ryan Nemeth in a really fun matchup. I feel so sorry for Matt Cardona. He does end up winning this match because Nick Nemeth tried interfering and the referee threw Nick Nemeth out. And Ryan Nemeth was very upset. He was very distracted by this, allowed Matt Cardona to pick up the victory. Back to Matt Cardona. He's gonna have an awful week next week. He's probably gonna lose to Nick Nemeth. I feel like Nick Nemeth is being set up to be the first challenger for Mike Santana. I feel like that would make a lot of sense. He's a former world champion in WWE and in TNA and will really put Santana over to beat him. And then Matt Cardona obviously has to lose for that to happen. And then he's gonna go on to NXT where he's probably gonna lose to Josh Briggs. So I like you, Matt Cardona. You're nice and fun, but you're gonna have a bad week. We also have a little comedy segment of the Rascals back in their treehouse. They're talking about how they all have been losing recently and they want to be on Bound for Glory, so they're going to go to Santino and get themselves a match for Bound for Glory. I don't recall anything coming from this, so maybe it's my own bad, but it was a fun little segment. I like these treehouse segments. It really adds something, but I wonder what's the future for the Rascals, because as cool as they are, I'm not excited to see the Rascals anymore. I feel like they've kind of run their course in what they can do. I like them. I don't want to see them get released or anything, but I really need something extremely fresh from them to really keep my interest. And then we also had a Marsha Day promo, and this is where I want to talk about Zayda Steel a bit more. Marsha Day, her promo skills are really good. I'm really buying into what they're doing, telling her a lot about her backstory, getting you invested in her. I really hope she becomes the face of the Knockouts division. I hope they sign Zayda Steel and it's Marsha Day and Zayda Steel who are the faces of the Knockouts division. But specifically for Marsha Day, I never felt anything towards her when she was Jakara Jackson in NXT. But ever since she came to TNA, man, I've loved her. She's pretty solid in the ring, but specifically her presence, her aura, her look, it's just she has the total package to be the next face. And in my opinion, I want to see her and Zayda Steel be the faces of the Knockouts division. Obviously, anybody who gets super popular is just gonna get snatched up by WWE, but I feel like these two girls are still very young and can be the faces of the Knockouts division for the next 5 to 6 years. And obviously you still have girls like Indy Hartwell, you still have Dani Luna, who I also feel have a lot of potential. I'm just not as bought into them as I am these two. And look at me talking about Zayda Steel as if she's signed. She's not, but again, I can dream about it. But yeah, as for Marsha Day, I'm very invested in the girl. Hopefully she wins the Bound for Glory Cup, the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and she goes after the Knockouts division. I really don't want Indy Hartwell to win the championship from Kalani Jordan. I feel like we still have some story to tell with Kalani Jordan as champion, so having her retain at Bound for Glory and then go on to lose it to Marsha Day in the future would be how I prefer it. And since we're talking about the Knockouts contract signing, let's just get that over the way too. It was a fun little thing. Before Indy Hartwell and Kalani Jordan could even talk about anything, the personal concierge of the By Elegance brand slid into the ring and had Santino sign a match for the rematch clause. So at the Bound for Glory pre-show, we're going to have the Inspiration versus the By Elegance brand for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I mean, I just saw this match last week, I believe, so not particularly interested in it, but you know, cool. I'm glad they're getting on the show. They both have been incredible this year. And again, I've already said my thoughts about Kalani Jordan versus Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell is really good, but she needs to lean into her character work a lot more. That's what always made her special in NXT back in the day, is her character work. She's fine in the ring, and I don't think anybody needs to be super talented in the ring to stand out. But if you don't have the talent, you need to be very great on the mic with your character work. And she is, but TNA hasn't allowed her to show that. So I feel like it would be very premature to put the belt on her now. So let's just run with Kalani Jordan a bit more. She already is a relatively made star. I mean, she's levels above anybody in TNA in my opinion. So let her have a run with the belt and build the rest up. Build Marsha Day up, build Indy Hartwell up, allow them to play to their strengths before we build the Knockouts division to stand on its own. We also have Mustafa Ali versus JDC in a very fun little match. Obviously, Mustafa Ali picks up the victory after a little brawl breaks out outside between the Order 4 and the System. And also what I noticed is, I don't know if they've ever acknowledged it, there was a while where Tasha Steelz was kind of a part of the System. Not really, but she was teaming up with Alicia Edwards for a while. So that's something I just realized all of a sudden during this match, that there's some history there. Again, after the match ends, Mustafa Ali picks up the victory. The System slides in, they're ready to brawl, but it doesn't happen. You know what I want to see? I want to see after this, I hope the Order 4 wins so that Mustafa Ali and Mike Santana can have like a multi-month feud. I feel like that type of feud for the World Championship is insane, and hopefully that happens, because it feels like Santana is having a lot of challengers lined up for him. I mean, we're going to talk about Eric Young later, but Mustafa Ali is like his ultimate rival. Nick Nemeth feels like a normal big heel for him to face. And then we're gonna get to Eric Young later, but this was a fun little match. I really liked it. Mustafa Ali is extremely talented, and especially after that brutal bump on NXT, I have so much faith in this guy to be something big. And before we get to the main event, we just have a little package about Team 3D versus the Hardys. As excited as I am for this match, I feel like the build has been kind of lackluster. They only really had one appearance face to face. The rest has all been packages or just saying they're hyped up. So I wish we had more, but I'm excited for it. It's also kind of predictable that the Hardys are going to win, because Team 2D, they're not going to return for another match, plus they're not going to win the NXT Championship. So kind of predictable, but I'm hyped for this match. It was one of the first matches I ever saw on TNA, so happy to be here for this final match. And then Leon Slater also cuts a promo about the X Division Championship and how he's not going to let an outsider win it. Really fun promo from him. I really like the guy. Excited for this match. I just wish it was an Ultimate X match. That would have been super dope. And then in the main event, it's Joe Henry versus Eric Young, a no disqualification match. I liked seeing Joe Henry in different type of gear. I don't feel like we see that quite often. It's always the blue shirt and the pants, or it's his wrestling gear. We never see him in something like this. This was really fun. Surprisingly, he ends up losing to Eric Young. This has to be Joe Henry's final match in TNA, isn't it? Because they even said Eric Young just started the cleansing. So I feel like it will make a whole lot of sense that this is how we send Joe Henry off, because it really elevates Eric Young's story if that happens. And even with that, I feel like he would be a perfect challenger to go after Mike Santana. Even though that's not really the story they're telling, I still feel like him trying to claim the NXT TNA Championship would make a whole lot of sense, even though he's gonna lose. I feel like we have a lot of challengers for Mike Santana. And overall, if I had to give the show a rating, I'm gonna say it was an 8 out of 10. It wasn't the most perfect show, but it was really fun. Normally, the show before pay-per-views, the go-home show, doesn't have a whole lot happening. A few random matches and a lot of promo packages building up to the pay-per-view. But this, we had a lot of action, a lot of story development, and just a lot of fun things to think about, and I really appreciated that. Again, wasn't perfect, but 8 out of 10, really good show to watch. So if you like it, please leave a like, subscribe. I cover NXT, TNA, and Evolve every single week. Along with that, I have a superhero channel and a basketball channel. Go check that out. So please leave a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Goodbye, everyone.